You think a midnight delivery job is harmless, right? Just a bunch of miles, addresses, and the friendly glow of a GPS. But that's the first lie we tell ourselves. That danger announces itself, that it always looks like a threat. The truth is much quieter. It looks like routine, until the routine turns on you. Tonight, you're going to learn what happens when an address exists in the system, but not in the world. And before you say, that could never happen to me, just remember, every driver who vanished probably said the same thing. Before all this started, I was just a temp driver, trying to scrape enough money together to stay afloat. I didn't scare. Deliveried work teaches you that most houses look strange at night, that shadows stretch longer than they should, and that silence sometimes feels like a warning. You learn to ignore all of it, but looking back, there were sign-stinny ones that I brushed off. A weird glitch in my scanner. A coworker telling me, you don't want the after-midnight shifts. The system gets weird. I just laughed. I thought he was joking. I didn't know back then that the addresses weren't the problem. The problem is what waits at them. And the biggest myth I ever believed was that hauntings come from the dead. Sometimes it's the living places themselves. The route started like any other. 7 packages, all labeled for the extended delivery zone. That usually meant houses outside city limits, back roads, farmland, just quiet. The first address took me to a small blue house I'd never noticed before. The porch light flickered like it was running on a dying pulse. No cars in the driveway. No kids' toys on the lawn. No signs of life at all. Still, everything looked technically normal. A moment of false safety. I set the box down on the porch, snapped the delivery photo, and the house seemed to exhale a soft shift in the wooden boards. Like something inside had been waiting to hear my van's door click shut. I told myself houses just creak, but when I got back to the van and checked my scanner, the address was gone from the route list, just vanished. Like it had never even been there. The second address was worse. My GPS dragged me down a dirt road that didn't appear on the map until I was already on it, as if it had been generated right underneath my wheels. At the end of it was a 2-story house with boarded-up windows and a leaning, half-rotted for sale sign. I learned later from county records that this place had burned down 20 years ago. But that night it stood there, perfectly intact, quiet, still, and waiting. I stepped out of the van and was hit with this kind of cold that doesn't touch your skin. It hits your thoughts. It makes you aware of how loud your own heartbeat is. I left the package at the front door. There were no lights, no movement here. The boards over the windows cast shadows inside, as if someone were pacing back and forth behind them. I took another photo, and just like before, the address was erased from my scanner the moment I looked away. The third address didn't even have a house. It was just a foundation, a set of concrete steps leading up to a doorway that opened into nothing. It was like the house had been peeled away, leaving only the idea of an entrance. But the package label was clear. Someone or something was supposed to receive it. I placed the box on the top step. My scanner glitched. A streak of static flashed across the screen. Then a message I'd never seen before appeared. Do not leave. Recipient en route. I tried to delete it. I tried to clear the screen, but the message stayed. What awry wasn't a person. It was a sound. The slow, uneven scrape of something heavy being dragged through the dead leaves, coming from the tree line. I started backing toward the van, and then the steps creaked behind me. Empty steps shouldn't creak. That's when my dispatcher called. Or at least, I thought it was her. The voice sounded like her, but it was wrong. Too calm, too patient. "The next address is the important one," it said. I tried to tell her the route was messed up, that these addresses weren't real. She just whispered, "They're real to the ones who need them." Then the call cut out. When I looked at my scanner again, the final destination had already loaded. There was no street name, just a set of coordinates, and they were located directly behind me. I turned, and there, at the end of the Foundation's gravel drive, was a house. A house that hadn't been there a minute before. Lights on, the front door cracked open, and inside, a silhouette standing perfectly still, as if it was expecting me. I should have driven away. I should have abandoned the job right there and then. But the last package in my van, it had my name on it. My full name printed in courier font. There was no return address. The system. It had been routing me to deliver something to myself. I carried it toward the waiting house. Each step felt like I was wading deeper into someone else's memory. The silhouette remained still, too still. When I reached the porch, the house smelled like damp earth, old wood, and something faintly electric, like the air right before a lightning strike. I opened the box. Inside was a single item, a scanner, identical to mine, but covered in dirt. It flickered on by itself. A delivery photo appeared on the screen. It was me, standing in that doorway. But it was taken from an angle where no one was holding a camera. Behind me, the silhouette finally moved. It didn't step forward. It just got closer, without crossing any distance, like a frame skipping in reality. And then a voice, my own voice, but older, spoke from inches behind my ear. "You're late." Everything went dark. I woke up in my van at sunrise. The engine was off. There were no packages, and my route history was completely blank. But sometimes, when I'm driving past empty lots or abandoned houses, my scanner lights up with an address I don't recognize, and every single time, the recipient's name is the same. It's mine. Thanks for watching. If you have a story about a delivery gone wrong, share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more strange tales from the road. Stay safe out there.